the afternoon sun cast dappled shadows across the streets of Manhattan's West Side, Haley sat in the backseat of a taxi, watching the skyscrapers pass by through the window. An invisible hand stirred her heart, stirring her with both nervousness and anticipation. Tina beside her murmured, "This place looks really classy. Let's not dirty the carpet. This is my first time in a house this big too." Haley clutched her backpack on her knees, her heart racing. The taxi pulled onto a quiet street, ending at a 3-story off-white villa. The wrought iron gates swung open automatically. Rosand neatly trimmed shrubs in the garden bloomed quietly in the autumn sun. A stone lion stood at the gate, creating a stately mansion, like something out of an American TV series. Bodyguard Eric was already waiting at the entrance, dressed in a black suit, and, with a stern expression, he watched that woman exit the car, and simply nodded. "Leave the Lugagetto me, follow me," Tina whispered. "Look at that bodyguard's muscles. They're even scarier than our landlords." "Don't talk," Haley whispered back, afraid of getting into trouble. Upon entering, I was greeted by a grand lobby with a high dome ceiling, thick Persian carpets, and a soft glow from a crystal chandelier. A woman in her 50s, wearing a neat apron and a professional smile, came up to me. "You're Haley, right? I'm Linda, the nanny and cook here." Haley nodded and nervously squeezed the strap of her backpack. "Hello, Linda." Linda's eyes swept over her, her tone gentle yet scrutinizing. "I'll explain the rules to you later. Let me take you to your room first." A small bedroom with floor to ceiling windows reached the end of the long hallway. The sheets were pristine white, and a bouquet of pale pink lilies lay on the table. Linda gestured for her to put down her luggage. "Stay here tonight. The bathroom is on the right, and the closet is empty. Don't go into my kitchen without permission. Let me know if you need anything." "I understand." Haley nodded quickly. Tina peeked out and asked, "You don't have surveillance cameras here, do you?" Linda didn't answer directly, but just smiled. "We're used to being quiet and orderly. Don't be afraid. Safety always comes first." After she finished speaking, she closed the door and left. The room suddenly became quiet, and decent light shone in from the window, bringing a hint of warmth. Tina whispered, "Why do I feel like this place is even more depressing than the Siab little house we shared?" Haley tried to comfort herself. "At least there are no mice here and the bed is clean." But when she said this, she still felt a little empty inside. It was dinner time when Linda knocked on the door and asked her to come downstairs. The dining room was bright and clean. The table was covered with a snow-white tablecloth and was filled with roast chicken, vegetable salad, and thick soup that Linda had carefully prepared. Alexander sat at the head of the table, dressed in a suit and tie, looking normal. "Welcome," he said calmly. "Don't be shy, just be casual." Haley lowered her head and ate cautiously. Tina, on the other hand, didn't hesitate. She picked up a piece of roast chicken and took a big bite. "Wow, this meat is much better than takeout." Alexander chuckled and looked at Haley. "Are you adjusting well?" "It's okay," Haley answered shyly, glancing at him secretly. The atmosphere at the table was tense. Linda looked at Haley from time to time and whispered a few words to Alexander. Eric just stood by Thule, motionless like a statue. After dinner, Alexander showed Haley around the rest of the villa. He briefly explained, "There's a gym and a library, and the backyard garden needs regular watering and pruning. My daily routine is pretty regular. I have breakfast at 8 a.m. on weekdays, and you don't have to worry about lunch. Dinner is on schedule." Haley nodded repeatedly. "Okay, I'll remember that." When they passed a locked study, Alexander paused. "You don't have to clean this one. I'm the only one who has the key." Haley was subconsciously curious. What's inside? Alexander's mouth curled up slightly. "Just some personal documents, souvenirs." This statement aroused Haley's curiosity, but she didn't ask any further questions. As the night deepened, the villa fell silent. Haley finished her shower and sat on the edge of her bed, lost in thought. On her phone was a message from Tina. "I'm leaving. The room is super comfortable. Feel free to contact if you need anything." Haley finally felt a little more at ease. She recalled the first time she'd slept on a soft bed today, the clean room, the bright bathroom, the absence of noise and cold. But the quieter it got, the more uneasy she felt. Everyone here was polite and indifferent, every word coming through like a layer of glass. In the middle of the night, she was awakened by the sound of subtle footsteps. Downstairs, someone was moving around, occasionally whispering. She held her breath, a thought suddenly crossing her mind. Is this really safe? She quietly walked to the door and saw, through the crack at the bottom of the stairs, that Alexander and Eric were talking in low voices, with serious expressions. She couldn't hear the content, but she felt that the atmosphere was unusual. Haley huddled back in bed, her mind a mess. What the hell have I gotten myself into? She asked herself. At 6 in the morning, Linda knocked on the door to wake her up. Haley went downstairs in a daze and found that a hearty breakfast had been prepared in the kitchen. Help me wash the dishes today, and then go pull weeds in the backyard. Don't be afraid of getting dirty, and remember to wash your hands after you're done. Linda handed her a pair of gloves. Haley nodded and quietly threw herself into her new job. As she washed its dishes, she listened to Alexander's whispers on the phone in the restaurant, feeling uneasy while pulling weeds in the backyard, the sun shining on her and the breeze carrying the smell of earth. Haley suddenly found that she actually missed the days when she used to work on farm in her hometown. Linda came out and looked at her squatting on the ground. You are very capable, Haley. But I don't think this is the end. Haley was stunned for a moment. What do you mean? Linda said meaningfully. If you have the chance, don't just be a cleaner. These words were like a seed, planted in Haley's heart. In the afternoon, before leaving, Alexander went to the backyard and said to Haley, we're going to have some guests tonight. Please help Linda get ready. Okay, do you want Ma to change clothes? Go to the closet upstairs and find a black dress, something formal. His voice was gentle, but with unquestionable authority. Haley returned to her room, found a simple black dress in the closet, put it in, and stood in front of the mirror in a daze. She suddenly felt that she was getting further and further away from Haley of the past, as if she had entered a whole new world. In the evening, the villa was brightly lit. 3 well-dressed men arrived in after another, and Alexander chatted quietly with them in the living room. Haley and Linda worked together to prepare the meal and serve drinks. She noticed that one of the male guests kept giving her strange looks, which made her feel uncomfortable. The atmosphere at the dinner was subdued. Alexander remained serious throughout, discussing business and collaboration. After dinner, the 3 guests left Tony after another. Alexander approached it and said, "Thank you for your hard work tonight. You did a great job." Haley whispered, "Thank you for giving me the chance." Alexander glanced at Heron, nodded slightly. "Go to bed early." Late at night, Haley finally returned to her room. She closed the door and slid down onto the edge of the bed. She was exhausted from the day's experiences, but her mind was clearer. She thought, this mansion is like some kind of gorgeous cage. Everything here is too perfect, too quiet, which makes people always on guard. She instinctively pulled out her phone and sent a message to Tina. "I don't think I belong here yet. I received a reply soon. Just get used to it slowly. Maybe one day you will become the hostess." Haley looked at the screen and smiled bitterly. She knew that no matter how the environment changed, she still had to rely on herself. Before turning off the lights, she thought again of Alexander and Eric's whispers in the early morning, Linda's meaningful words, and the locked study door. How many secrets are hidden here? She closed her eyes and welcomed new night with a little uneasiness and faint anticipation.
Please stay tuned for the next episode.
See you there.